All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jake.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 37. We got some wonderful conversations last episode.
Yes, we did.
They were very good.
Got to have Anna Rose and Hildegard actually have their first interaction.
Yeah.
And one that I really appreciated because there was this strength that came from Hildegard that showed that she was kind of asking for her, help, but also more permission to be like, may I do what I'm, good at doing?
Yeah.
And Anna Rose had her reservations, but for the most part, things went rather smoothly.
Yep.
And we got to see how Anna Rose has, grown and changed and adjusted, if you will, to
all
the stuff that's happened recently.
Yep.
So that's that. That's that. Then we have the stuff with Fejon. So Fejon is setting up a very precarious situation for two agents of theirs.
Right. And also just for the Empire, since it's all based on espionage and they hold the cards.
Right. But the thing that's funny about this is that they're setting up basically these two people to fail.
Right. Yep.
Which is kind of wonderful in that those two shouldn't have basically any reason to suspect that, except that one of them, Schumacher,
is quite competent and has a good nose.
Yes, has a good nose. Exactly. Yeah. He's a good doggo.
Yep.
And he's potentially going to screw this up, though.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And then we also have Baltic actually then addressing Reinhard and telling him all this very straightforward way, because Reinhard deduced that their plan was something a little bit more complicated than what it appeared to be on the surface. So shenanigans going on in the Empire. The Alliance has multiple forces like drooling for their territory. And Yang, good luck, buddy. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, the Kaiser has been kidnapped.
Yep.
We are in it. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah. Everything is working out so far with regards to Schumacher and Landsberg.
Oh, yeah.
I loved how ridiculous he looked, doing his infiltration mission with his actual noble getup.
Oh, yeah.
It just shows the cognitive dissonance he has about what they're actually doing. Because he's like, no, we're not killing a kid.
No.
We're kidnapping a kid so that
we're rescuing
we're rescuing a kid.
He's completely oblivious to what's actually going on.
Yeah, in some ways, I love that he can be on the same team with Schumacher. And Schumacher is like, I'm thinking about my safety.
Yeah.
The way he was talking with Baltic and being like, I will then take steps to ensure my safety.
Yep.
He is not saying our safety with regards to this idiot Landsberg here.
No guarantees for that kid, but here we are. And I love that it's such a precarious situation, right? Because we've been familiarized with the variables, right? And the ways that it could go wrong for all the different parties involved, whether you're talking about Schumacher or whether you're talking about Fejon or the Empire, or, all kinds of different angles, right?
Yep.
And that each side has things that they have that they're sort of holding over the other, right? But you don't know how it's going to go because
no, definitely not.
But stuff's going to happen. Stuff's going to happen here because this is it's not just the a kidnapping of a 7-year-old kid. It's the start of something. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This was an episode also that very quickly led to the actual plot moving along like rather quickly.
Yeah.
What I really liked was how the characters that have been built up to be competent in specific areas showed their competency.
Right.
I would say the biggest one for me specifically is the admirals. The admirals
awesome.
as a whole,
Yeah.
just the way they worked with Reinhardt there and worked with each other, I think shows how leagues they are ahead with regards to the Navy military leadership over the Free Planets Alliance.
Yep.
But specifically also, I would say actually what's going on with Boltic. The fact that Fejon basically took the threat of Schumacher seriously. What I think we had already kind of known was that that's something that Schumacher could do, but what would Fejon actually do in response? In some ways, I didn't think that they would actually try to, or maybe I did, I don't remember, but I don't think that they would actually try to just immediately kill them. I think that would be maybe something that would lead to too many complications. I think if anything, what they would do is try to set up a spot where they would just transfer the Kaiser from them to someone else and lead them into like a trap.
Sure.
And that would be too easy, I would say. That would be too easy to actually do. The main reason why is something that they had in this episode, which was that they're going to shut down the spaceports. How is a ship going to get to the Free Planets Alliance from inside, freaking Odin?
Yeah, right.
This is something that Fejon literally has to have something already planned and set up. Otherwise, there's no way this is going to work unless Reinhardt lets it.
And how do you do it without leaving a trail that points out very clearly that Fejon is the one that's doing it? I'm guessing that might be one of the things that they're wanting to use the Church of Terra for.
Exactly, because the Church of Terra does have this sort of wild card aspect to it, and that it's not tied to anyone. They're radicals, and they also have people that are very much in league with the Alliance.
Yes.
So what they could do, and I think that Reinhardt would definitely take quite a few excited drinks regarding this, is labeling the Church of Terra a terrorist alliance, seditious group or something, where he's like, oh yes, purge them all, just like, oh, anyone affiliated with the Church of Terra, wonderful, just clean house even more. That seems like very Reinhardt dictatory kind of thing of like, well, wait, what use are they? He's functionally, what do they provide as a service to the Empire? Nothing really. So let's just and we don't necessarily like the Church of Terra at all. So in some ways it'd be like, I'm kind of on board with that.
He'll invade Fejon to get to the Church of Terra. That's so, just hold up there,
Oh my god. But this is actually something that would be really cool to have as just a repercussion of this thing. Is that the Church of Terra becomes actually something that Yang maybe has to ally with a little bit.
Oh man.
That could make it. That could make things really, really twisted, because then Fejon will be somewhat working. And then with them, and then there'll be the Fejon group that's working with the Empire as well. But anyways, let's go through the episode stuff. But that's just something I'm like, ooh, what if?
This episode set everything up to be like, it started happening, and yet even while it's happening, it could change on a dime. Right? And things could totally change one way or the other, which makes it very tense, even though this is intrigue stuff where it's just, okay, these two, one competent dude and one doofus kidnapping the Kaiser, right? All right, but how is that going to have these grander ramifications?
Right. Well, let's talk about the immediate ramifications. Holt, the security guy, who was just a legit good soldier. I did not see anything about him in the stuff that we'd seen previously, or this, where it was like, oh, he's, he needs to be, gotten rid of or anything like that.
Yeah, he just, all right. And the fact
they said he was someone though that Reinhardt pardoned, though.
Oh, really? I thought it was something where he. Okay, yeah. You're probably right. Yeah, that's right. I'm mixing up Holt and the conversation about who would be.
Well, Holt was the guy that took his own life,
right? And the fact that happened so fast, like this, it very much gave me this feeling that this is going to spiral out of control, right?
Because that was just so fast.
Yeah, because you could see how all the people around Reinhardt were responding to the idea that Reinhardt was starting to throw his own men under the bus, right? And that was something that the old Reinhardt would not have done, right? He would have been able to make the decisions of like, okay, you know, if orange hair boy with panties of victory.
Bittenfeld.
Bittenfeld. If Bittenfeld, steps out of line and makes a blunder, then it's like, okay, you screwed up, dude.
Right.
But it was always something where he knew all the names of the people that served under him, right? Like it was like, it's us against the world, right?
Right.
But now, once you have the world, then or very close to it, right? You don't necessarily have to do that as much anymore.
True.
And so things like this, even if Oberstein is making some great points, if they're like, hey, they signed up to be pieces for you, because they believe in you, right? And yes, I am one of those people that would happily give my life if you deemed it necessary, right? Because I believe in you that much. It's still something that's a bit cold and a bit brutal to see. And a lot of people see this, even though it didn't get to the point where Reinhardt was saying, you're going to be executed. Yeah. It didn't take long for Holt to kill himself. Like, it really didn't. So,
right.
Vice Admiral Molt was going to happen.
Vice Admiral Molt. Sorry, not Holt.
That's right.
Molt is an old-fashioned man. Even if your excellency pardoned him, he'd never accept your kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So it's not that he pardoned him. It's that even if he did pardon him, he'd never accept your kindness. That's just foreshadowing that he would take his life. But because Kessler, he's being an old-fashioned person, he wouldn't want to live with that dishonor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was the whole thing that they brought up with Kessler being like, oh, but Kessler is his subordinate, so you're going to punish Kessler too? It's like, no, Kessler is a rare man, so...
I thought Kessler was the person above him.
Yes, he is. Did I say subordinate?
Yeah.
I meant to say that Molt was his subordinate.
Right, yeah.
But the point is that Kessler, being the smart man that he is, instantly figured out what was going on.
Right, because like even with how the situation is going, right? The kidnapping and all that stuff, okay, cool. But if Reinhardt was actually wanting to say just get rid of the Kaiser, right? Then this would be one of the perfect ways to do it. Yeah. Because if you openly just assassinate them, then it's like, okay, who benefits from this? It's pretty obvious, right?
Yep.
But if it's something where he gets kidnapped and then, oh no, something happens while he's gone, then that's maybe a bit more excusable. It's not as obviously an assassination.
Yep.
So like...
What's also really cool about this was Kessler was the one that brought up the information of these spies have entered your space.
Yeah.
And now, after like having them follow them and stuff, the Kaiser's been taken. The fact that Reinhardt was made aware of this and that the one kind of awkward angle of like power within the Empire's structure gets removed rather quickly after that. Kessler is not stupid. He immediately knows what's going on. But I love how that foreshadows that one of the admirals who had no knowledge of the spies entering, their space, is then able to kind of sense rather quickly that this doesn't have to be, outside stuff. This could be an inside job. And who benefits the most from this?
Right. Because
who's second highest in power technically? Legally. Within the Empire. I think it's the golden boy who is also, swiftly taking over everything within the Empire.
Yeah. And the thing is that in most situations, I don't think they would mind that, right? They were the ones who helped him take supreme, executive power, right?
But it's something that Ruenthal's going to keep in his pocket.
And
be like, when this is important, when this is, effective or useful, and I will use it.
Oh, yeah. And even though they believe in him, when it's something where he's doing a lot of the similar things that he's already done, the fact that then they might be people, like their heads could theoretically be on the chopping block, not that it would necessarily make them turn against him immediately or anything like that, but it might make them a little bit more hesitant or wonder about, do I want to be following this guy?
Or another way to look at it is they can take the Schumacher approach, which is, I trust you. but I will take measures on my own part to guarantee my safety.
Yep.
So, yeah. Just having secondary, measures and, plans in place. That's maybe an important thing to have.
Yep.
I just gotta say, the fact that Oberstein had this little banter back and forth with Reinhardt where he kind of backhand insults him a little bit by telling him, hey, you need to step up a bit. Your incompetency is showing in this small area here. I can cover for that, but you need to allow me to cover for that, basically.
And Reinhardt does the thing that, would have cowed lesser men, right? Of saying, what if I need to kill you? And he's like, yeah, go for it. And that's something that whenever I see characters in stories say something similar to that, and I feel like they believe it, that gives me a lot of respect for them, even if I disagree with them.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, because it means that they believe strongly enough in what they're about that, I'm not exempt from what I'm saying. Totally. And because of that, because he says, I'm okay with that, he's like, I'm also going to take some liberties with how I talk to you in private here because, I knew that you were going to call me back. Like, that's an example of what I said earlier, that you sometimes miss the details because you're trying to do this by yourself. You don't have someone to verify.
Yeah. I love that Oberstein had that little bit. And then we finally get to see his dog. And as he goes back to sit down, he's like, I'm going to get called up again immediately. So just
hold the wine.
Hold the wine. I won't be drinking it for a bit. You know what I felt for Oberstein, and it's almost a comedic thing, is the person who is the extremely competent person directly under the manager.
But never properly appreciated.
Never getting that moment to breathe and rest and have that little bit of relaxation. Now I understand, Oberstein, why you have the dog.
Yeah.
Because you told us why you have the dog.
Right.
But that's more of a human relationship kind of thing.
Can't afford to have friends in a position of power like yours.
Right. But I think what it also is that the dog is the one that will just be like, oh, did you not have a great day? And then we just come over and just love you. And he's just like, he's just snuggling with the dog and, doesn't cry himself to sleep or anything, but he definitely sleeps a lot better when the dog is nearby, So I felt so much pity and just sympathy for Oberstein in that moment. Because then it's the thing of he had to walk all that way back to his office, however far away it is, and deal with all that stuff. And he knows Reinhardt's going to call him back. And then right as he gets like that moment of it, fine. And the way that I try to remember the name of the person who it was. I think it was like Rucker or it was the young, it was the young guy who was put as Reinhardt's direct subordinate. Let me see. Young boy. Let's just look in the episode here. The way that Oberstein just kind of was like, fine, like, this is Streit. This was Rear Admiral Streit. Okay, so this was actually the guy that was, if I remember correctly, he was the one that got switched back. Like he refused to join Reinhardt nor rejoin Braunschweig at the start of the Civil War. Okay, gotcha. So he was in some ways neutral through the whole thing there. But the way he kind of sees Oberstein's just like, ugh, yada,
right. That bit of frustration, and he's like, oh, okay.
Right. I love it here. So urgently something, it's still at the Prime Minister's office, so please report there. It's like all the way there, and he just goes, understood. And then the way that Streit just kind of goes,
right.
Yeah, and then he ends the call. It's like one of those things like, wait, cut the line. Like,
right. Like, commercial.
Yeah.
Like but one of the unfortunate things about it is it's another, and I love how this show does it. It's another seedling of something where it's not an immediate direct problem, but it is a symptom of the problem, and the problem is getting worse, where as a result of Reinhardt not being at the top of his game.
Right. Because he doesn't have someone right next to him.
Right. People aren't seeing him as a golden god, right? As a result of that. As they used to. Yeah. As a result of that, even though Oberstein is still like, yeah, I'll if you tell me to die, go for it. You know?
Yeah, Oberstein is getting everything he wants through Reinhardt right now. Right. Reinhardt is just absolutely changing everything in the Empire for, in some ways, kind of the better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But because Oberstein's perception of Reinhardt is changing, other people can tell that his perception of Reinhardt is changing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that will spread. Because then it's maybe his time in the sun is done.
Or maybe it's something that, if Oberstein seems a little bit out of sorts, what should I be responding with?
Right, that's Oberstein.
Right, I think what it also is, it might not be something that relays back to Reinhardt, at least in Strite's mind, but I think what he's seeing is that, Oberstein, you're stressed? That doesn't seem like you. You're kind of a robot. Like, wait a minute. Right. Like, so I almost feel like Strite is going to like go to sleep tonight, and he's just going to lie awake, just being like, what the hell? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah. Like, what's going on? Like this little conversation right here is going to echo around in his head for hours.
Maybe just a few hours, but I don't think it's gonna like give him insomnia or anything.
Right. But it's little things like that though that are just like the small stones that are the signs of the starting of an avalanche. You know.
Right. So that's that. And then we go to Schumacher and the Kaiser getting kidnapped and stuff. And they've used the secret passageway that's been passed down the
Landsberg family for generations. Yeah.
But then we find out, wait, this kid being alone a lot, or just not being with like, I don't know, like people that are really taking care of him. He's turning into a little Joffrey.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
Which is like, well, and I love this because it's another instance of showing the consequences of Reinhardt's actions, because he killed this kid's family.
Yeah.
Right? This kid is alone, right? He's got his hatred, and
he's 7 years old.
And he's 7 years old, and that's about it, right?
And he's being asked to be the ruler of the universe. He does not know.
Oh, hell no.
He does not know how to be a child right now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, him tearing the ear off of his stuffed bear, I absolutely believe that.
Right, but what I see is something here that's rather sickening, is just the idea that this is something that could have basically become a thing that would have affected the Empire. And so Reinhardt's whole revolution, him, switching up the whole thing and destroying the monarchy and the nobles and stuff like that, this is something where even in the children, basically, of this whole system, this whole like broken way of doing government and all that is still leading into the corruption that's basically created this kid in some ways as well.
Oh, sure, okay.
Because I don't think that would have been different if Reinhardt wasn't the one that put him there and stuff.
Oh yeah, if Reinhardt. Oh no, just the fact that if his family isn't around anymore.
Well, right, but I think in some ways that the family might not have been entirely around, if not just like, I don't think Reinhardt is solely to blame for this kid's kind of issues and stuff.
Probably not.
I think that the nobility would have still put a 7-year-old as the Kaiser.
Yeah.
So I think my point is that like.
Right.
Putting a 7-year-old as the Kaiser is just a dumb idea, and no matter what.
And it's an example of, even though Reinhardt is doing these things that on the macro scale might be good, there are still the individuals that get crushed underneath him.
Yes, right? that's definitely a thing when you become a tyrant.
Right.
But what I also really loved was that wasn't the only instance of that. When Molt shows up and the servants are freaking out and he just says, "Where is the Kaiser?"
Yeah.
You get a simple question that could be said, "I don't know."
Right.
But rather than just saying the thing, this Chamberlain or whatever he was starts to go on and wax about how he has this excuse. Specifically as to where it's not his fault.
Right.
Which is so asinine because this guy does not care whose fault it is. But because of the system...
Address the situation at hand. Yeah.
Right, but because of the system, these old, servants or what have you have grown up in, I think some of them are nobility, I don't know, but they're basically
from that previous
era.
Yeah.
They are so focused on their own skins in that regard, even though there's actually no threat to them at all. Like the security people are who's going to be taking responsibility for this.
Right.
He takes like a full 30 seconds to a minute to say, I don't know.
He was taken. Yeah, right.
Like, I was incensed on this guy's behalf.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because I already know what's going on.
Right.
I have the omniscient perspective as the audience. But I was like, holy crap, dude, this is almost comical. The fact that you just won't say, I don't know. So the fact that he said that much, I thought that it hadn't happened yet. I thought that this was a scene that could have happened before what we had seen actually previously in the episode, so that things would get a little bit more...
They're like still on the chase, but it's
right.
Like if this wasn't Legend of the Galactic Heroes, you know that Molt would have like that like vein popping out of his forehead,
and just sock him across the jaw or something.
Right.
But no, he's a good soldier. He doesn't he doesn't cause violence to other people for no reason, just because he gets emotionally frustrated. I also love how quickly Hildegard deduced, I know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
And she's like, are you sure you're going to be able to manipulate them? Maybe they're going to manipulate you, dude.
Right. It was one of those things where she wasn't saying like, I'm against what you're doing because it's a child or something like that. It's just like, okay, but are you sure? Like, and it's again just that thing where Reinhardt doesn't have his person right next to him, so he's sure, but that's when the worst consequences are when you're sure that you're right and you're still wrong, right? So
and that leads to the admirals having their summons and then discussion.
Good stuff
there. And then Mittermeier and Ruenthal. Hey, Mittermeier finally got Ruenthal to come over. So
that's true.
There you go. I like that something changed in that regard, because we're seeing just their bond and something that we've been told and shown a bit that they have a really strong bond, but I need more screen time with them in order to appreciate that bond.
Especially since moving forward, it's going to be probably really important for the plot.
Well, I mean, definitely important for the plot, but I mean, as far as my investment in their characters individually, it gets magnified when they come in these pairs where their bond ends up increasing the interest that I have for their characters. So Mittermeier, Ruenthal being at the tip of the spear for what comes next, because what comes next might happen really quickly depending on how Fejon handles this next stage of the abduction from their perspective of things here. And for the most part, I gotta say, Reinhardt, you're actually doing a pretty good job with maneuvering this.
It's
the
not
fact that he's made it into a win-win for the most part. I think that's good. I think that's good
because he's still highly competent. It's just that he's not perfect, right? So there are those little things where they could, devil is in the details, get him. Kind of
well, I would say in some ways, being someone that has ascended to this level of power, it's not that he has to be perfect, but he has to maintain the image of perfection, because he is set up at a high pedestal to where everyone is looking at him. All light is shining upon him and refracting upon his glorious golden armor. If a chink starts to show, or two or three in his armor, it creates a little bit of an imperfect image. And then people start to look at that. And they go, hey, the image is still really good, though. It might be imperfect, but we knew that as we got to see more of him, it remained that way. But if they stare at it long enough, they'll go, oh, it's not going away. It's still there. Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait. And the thing is, you stay in the pedestal, you stay in the limelight, the spotlight long enough.
Those will come up.
But I think this is also just kind of a nice kind of thing that translates over into real life, just here as well. There are so many people that end up getting put on pedestals like that. and it's just setting them up for failure.
Yeah.
But when someone seeks out the pedestal and puts themselves up there and kind of declares themselves a golden god in a lot of ways, I'll just say the forces of the universe have a wonderful way of balancing things out.
Yeah. Falls from grace are never elegant. It's a long way to go. Yeah.
And the thing is, it's going to take a long time before anything even close to that really happens for Reinhardt. There is so much built up on his pedestal, and there are so many amazing people still around him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's more of just fun to see that this show is willing to set up things that might not go anywhere, but given that we kind of assume Reinhardt has to fall eventually, it's just cool to see that there's so many different things that could be eventual instruments of his downfall.
Yeah.
But, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, y'all.
Hell
of a show.
It is.
But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. It's super cool, and if you're interested, it's on Amazon. The link is in the description down below.
Yeah, so if anything that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.